You let your dog lick your face and you call it a kiss. In my clinic, that same lick is sometimes the first thing that tells me a dog is in pain. Most owners never stop to ask what a lick actually means because it feels warm, it feels like love, and questioning it can feel like overthinking something simple. Over the next few minutes, I am going to walk you through exactly how to read your own dog's licking, the same way I read it on the exam table. And there is one distinction near the end that matters more than any of the others, the one that tells you whether tonight's lick is nothing or something worth watching closely. I have been treating dogs for more than 20 years, and licking is one of those behaviors owners almost never bring up on purpose until I point it out. Tell me in the comments your dog's name and roughly how many times a day they lick you, because what counts as normal is different for every dog, and we are about to figure out where yours falls. If you just realize you have let your dog lick your face for years without ever questioning it, that is not a mistake. Licking looks so much like love that stopping to analyze it can feel almost disloyal, like you are picking apart something sweet for no reason. Almost every owner I see does exactly this, and the fact that you are here now, wondering what your own dog's licking actually means, already tells me something about you. It tells me you are the kind of owner who pays attention to the small stuff, and the small stuff is exactly where I catch things early in the clinic, long before they turn into a bigger problem. The belief that a lick is always a kiss is the biggest myth on this topic, and it is worth breaking right now. A lick is not one single thing. It is a behavior with several possible drivers behind it, and affection is only one of them. The same wet nose to hand motion can come from a taste for the salt on your skin, from a habit that gets your attention, from an old pack instinct to keep the peace, or from something going on inside your dog's body that has nothing to do with how much they adore you. Treat every lick as a kiss and you will miss the exact moment it stops being one. And by the time you notice, whatever was actually going on underneath it has usually had plenty of time to get worse, not better. Here's the short version of why dogs lick it all. Mother dogs lick their puppies to clean them and calm them down, and that pairing of licking with comfort never really goes away. Licking your skin also gives your dog a small taste and scent reward, since skin carries salt and oils a dog's tongue can pick up, the same pull that sends a dog after a sweaty sock left on the floor. In a relaxed dog, licking works like chewing a favorite toy. It is a small, calming action with nowhere urgent to go. Think of excessive licking the way you think of a person biting their nails or clicking a pen without noticing. A small physical outlet for attention that has nowhere else to go. In a stressed or uncomfortable dog, that same action gets pulled into a different job, sometimes as appeasement behavior, a calming signal borrowed from how puppies greet adult dogs to lower tension, saying "I mean no harm" rather than only "I love you." So the real question is never whether your dog licks you. It is when, how much, and what it changes into. A few quick licks to your hand or face when you get home, or when you first wake up, followed by your dog settling down right after, is ordinary bonding, and there is nothing here to worry about. Licking aimed at you specifically while you are on your phone or your laptop, that stops the second you give attention, is learned behavior. Your dog figured out it works, and it is worth not rewarding every single time, but it is not a red flag either. If you already recognize your own dog in what I just described, that is the first payoff of watching this all the way through, and it is exactly why I would ask you to subscribe if you have not already. Not for a number on a screen, just so this kind of thing keeps landing in front of you, and so it reaches other owners who are sitting where you were 5 minutes ago, wondering the same thing about their own dog. A like helps that happen too, and it costs you nothing. Licking around new people, loud noises, or right after a scolding, paired with a lowered head or a tucked tail, is a stress signal in that moment. An appeasement gesture, not a relaxed greeting lick, and it calls for a calmer approach from you rather than more correction. This is the one owners misread the most because it looks submissive and sweet, when really your dog is asking you to ease up. Then there is the pattern that is genuinely different. Fixed, repetitive licking of one spot, whether that is your hand, your arm, or the same patch of your skin every time, or licking the air, the floor, or the furniture in long, unbroken bouts, sometimes with a faraway look on your dog's face. If this shows up new, sudden, or alongside a change in appetite or restlessness, this is the pattern that deserves a closer look, because it can point toward nausea, reflux, or a compulsive loop that needs real help to interrupt, not just a redirection. Think of it like a volume dial. Affectionate licking is that dial turned down low, a quiet occasional habit. A compulsive pattern is the exact same behavior with the dial stuck on high. And here's the part that matters. It does not turn itself back down. A lick is also a bit like a word, and the sentence it belongs to depends entirely on when it happens. A lick after a nap, when your dog is stretching and stretching out its whole body, says one thing. A lick every 90 seconds, with no stretch, no nap, no reason you can point to, says something else completely. And that is the sentence worth stopping to actually read. 2 quick adjustments worth knowing. A puppy that seems to lick and mouth everything, your hands, the furniture, its own paws, is usually just exploring the world the only way it knows how, through its mouth. And most of that fades with age and training. A senior dog that suddenly starts licking its lips and swallowing more than usual is a different story, and it is one I would take more seriously, since older dogs carry a higher chance of dental disease and low-grade internal discomfort that shows up first as licking before anything else. I saw this play out with the Beagle mix named Bailey, 6 years old, easygoing dog, the kind that never caused her owner any trouble. She started licking the air and the living room rug every single evening, several minutes at a stretch, right around the time she would normally eat dinner. Her owner figured it was just a new quirk, something to laugh about. In the clinic, it turned out to be mild reflux from too long a gap between her meals, an empty stomach irritating her the same way it does in a person who skips lunch and gets queasy by 4 o'clock. Splitting her food into 2 smaller meals, plus a small snack before bed, stopped the air licking within a week, and Bailey went back to only licking hands at greeting time. That is the version with a quick fix. Not every case moves that fast if the pattern is left alone. Appeasement licking under repeated stress, the kind tied to scolding or chaos in the house, does not usually stay contained to one moment. Left unaddressed, it can settle into a habitual anxiety response that starts showing up in situations that have nothing to do with you at all. A dog that has simply learned the world calls for constant appeasing. Attention-seeking licking, if it is never redirected, tends to escalate too into more insistent, harder to interrupt licking, sometimes even light nipping, because your dog has learned that pushier behavior gets a bigger reaction out of you. The most serious version is the one tied to something medical. Left unaddressed, occasional air licking from nausea or reflux can progress into a dog that stops eating normally, starts losing weight, or turns that constant licking onto its own skin until it becomes raw and infected. A lick sore that is a great deal harder and more expensive to treat than the reflux that started it. None of this happens overnight, but it happens quietly. And quietly is exactly how it gets missed, because the owner keeps calling it a kiss right up until the vet visit where we finally connect the dots. So here's the one distinction I told you about at the start, the thing that matters more than any single sign on its own. It is not really one question, it is 3. And I run through all 3 in my head every time an owner brings me a dog with a licking complaint. The next time your dog licks you, run the same 3 in your own head, in order. The first thing I check is how long and how intense it is. A handful of seconds is one story. Minutes that do not stop on their own, minutes your dog cannot seem to break out of even when you get up and walk away, is a different one entirely. From there, I look at what actually triggered it. A greeting, a request for attention, a stressful moment you can point to, or genuinely nothing you can identify at all. Licking that starts for no reason you can name. And the piece owners skip past almost every time is whether it is new. Has this exact pattern, this exact intensity, only shown up in the last few days or weeks, especially alongside a change in appetite, more lip smacking or gulping than usual, or a dog that seems restless in a way it was not before? Short, tied to a clear moment, dog settles right after. That is ordinary affection or attention seeking, and you can simply allow it or gently redirect it onto a toy if it is getting to be a lot. Long, hard for your dog to break out of, aimed at the air or the furniture instead of you, or brand new in the last little while. That is when I want you to start noting when it happens and roughly how often, and bring that log with you to your next vet visit instead of guessing at home. Redirecting a dog with a toy will not fix licking that is medical in origin. It will not resolve nausea, reflux, or dental pain hiding under fur you cannot see, and it will not fix a skin condition either. A raw, irritated patch from constant licking, drooling that seems heavier than normal, gulping or licking that shows up alongside vomiting, or a dog that seems unusually tired, all of that calls for a vet visit, not a wait-and-see approach, because it can point to real gastrointestinal pain that needs treatment, not a training fix. And if your dog cannot be pulled out of the licking, even when you call their name or offer a treat, that is compulsive behavior. A repeated action your dog struggles to stop, even though it no longer serves a clear purpose, and it is worth bringing to your vet, sometimes alongside a behaviorist, rather than trying to correct it yourself at home. For the appeasement licking, the anxious kind tied to new people or scolding, the fix is never punishing the lick itself. It is lowering whatever is triggering it in the first place, quieter greetings, skipping the direct scolding right after something goes wrong, and rewarding your dog for calm instead of tense. A couple of things owners ask me often. What if the licking only happens with one person, usually you, and never with anyone else in the house? That is almost always a sign it is relationship-based. Appeasement or attention-seeking aims specifically at the bond with you, and it is treated the same way. Lower the trigger, redirect the attention-seeking version onto a toy. What if it started right around the time a new baby or a new pet came into the house? That timing matters, and it almost always points to stress from the change in routine rather than anything medical, though it is still worth ruling out a coincidence with your vet if it does not settle down within a couple of weeks. Before we wrap up, one more thing worth knowing, since it connects to more than just licking. A dog with skin allergies often licks its own paws or flank raw, which is really a skin problem showing up disguised as a behavior. A dog with early dental disease may lick its lips and drool more than usual, mouth pain hiding behind something that looks like a habit. And a dog under chronic anxiety-driven licking can show it in appetite, in sleep, even in digestion, because stress affects a dog's gut much the same way it affects ours. None of this is the pet industry selling you something you do not need, by the way. The real villain here is just a cultural shorthand. Every lick equals a kiss, repeated so often in cartoons and casual conversation that nobody ever stopped to question it. Nobody profits from that shorthand. It has just never been corrected, until now. In my experience, and this lines up with what behaviorists see across general practice, compulsive licking and behaviors like it are among the more common complaints owners bring in, and more often than not, there is either anxiety, boredom, or a medical trigger sitting underneath it once we actually look. Sudden, out-of-character licking that starts overnight is a bit like a smoke detector going off. It does not tell you exactly what is burning, but it tells you it is time to go check. If more than one of these signs sounds like your dog, do not try to fix everything at once. Pick one adjustment first, lowering the trigger for the anxious licking or offering a chew toy for the attention-seeking kind, and give it a full week before you add anything else. Changing your dog's toy, your response, and your routine all in the same day makes it impossible to tell what actually worked, and it tends to confuse a dog that does better with consistency than with sudden change. So here is where that leaves you. A lick under 30 seconds tied to a clear moment is almost always exactly what it looks like: ordinary affection. A lick that runs long, that repeats without a trigger you can name, or that shows up brand new alongside anything else off about your dog is the one worth timing, logging, and mentioning at your next vet visit. That is really the whole distinction this video was built around: kiss or warning, and now you know how to tell them apart in your own dog. You do not need to overthink every single lick starting tonight. You just need to notice when one stops looking like the others. Tell me in the comments, the next time your dog licks you, was it a quick few seconds or did it go on and on? I read every one of these and it helps me know what to cover next. If this changed how you will read your own dog from now on, subscribing costs nothing, and it means this kind of thing keeps finding you and finds other owners who are exactly where you were a few minutes ago. A like helps this reach them too. Whatever you find out about that lick tonight, go give your dog a scratch behind the ears for me. They are still trying to tell you something in the only language they have.